What if the person who saves your life is a little girl with nothing but a crust of bread and a broken smile? That question slammed into me harder than any boardroom betrayal or market crash. I had everything: a penthouse in Manhattan, a net worth with too many zeros to count, and a calendar booked months in advance. But the day I saw her barefoot, shivering, holding onto a torn paper bag like it was a lifeline, everything I thought I knew about success, love, and purpose shattered. She didn't ask for much, just a place to sit, a bite to eat, a moment to exist where no one looked at her like she was invisible. I thought I was helping her, but what I didn't know was she was about to rescue me. And if you think this story is just about kindness, you're wrong. What happens next will break your heart, challenge everything you believe about family, and end with a decision that could ruin both of us or finally set us free. Stay with me, because the most shocking part is still to come. Why does the bread smell so warm when I haven't eaten in 2 days? That was the last thought Lily could remember before her vision blurred and the ache in her stomach overtook her legs. She stood barefoot on the cold Manhattan pavement, her thin arms wrapped around her shivering body as she stared through the glowing windows of the Atlantic Room, a restaurant so lavish it might as well have been another planet. Inside, laughter rang out like crystal bells. Wine glasses clinked. Diamond bracelets danced under the chandeliers. Waiters moved with elegance, carrying plates that looked more like artwork than food. No one noticed the small girl outside. No one ever did, except for tonight. At the far end of the restaurant sat Ethan Walker, a man known by Forbes and feared by competitors. Tech mogul, millionaire. The man who disrupted the finance app world and made his first $10 million before turning 30. But now at 32, he sat in silence, staring blankly at his untouched plate of scallops and herb butter. His white wine glimmered under the candlelight, untouched. Around him swirled the buzz of the elite, yet he felt like a ghost trapped in a golden cage. He scrolled through emails on his phone like a machine, metrics, graphs, Q3 projections. And yet, nothing felt real. Across the street, Lily was being pushed away again. "I told you to stay off this block," barked a security guard as he shoved her toward the alley. "Please," she whispered, her voice cracking, "just a bite. No beggars in this district. Move." She stumbled backward but didn't cry. Not yet. Crying wasted energy. She had already used her tears the day her father left and never returned. That was months ago, maybe more. The days blurred together when hunger gnawed at your ribs like wolves in winter. She waited, watched, hoped. Then she saw him, the man at the corner table, alone, not eating. Something about the way his eyes looked at nothing made her stop breathing. He looked sad. Not like the others who laughed at their own privilege. He looked like someone who had forgotten how to feel. Maybe, just maybe. While the security guard turned to talk to tourists, Lily dashed across the patio, weaving through tables with the grace of a shadow. She slipped between velvet chairs, past a woman gasping in pearls, past a man in a white blazer who flinched and reached for his wallet. Before anyone could stop her, she stood beside Ethan Walker's table, silent, trembling. Ethan didn't notice her at first. He was too lost in the glowing emptiness of his screen. But then a shadow fell across his table. He looked up, and for a moment time stopped. She was tiny, barefoot. Dirt smudged her cheeks. Her pink dress hung like it belonged to another child entirely. But her eyes, those big brown eyes, held a strange, raw truth that cut through the noise of the world. "Can I eat with you, Daddy?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The entire restaurant froze. A waiter dropped a fork. A woman gasped. Someone muttered, "Who let her in?" The maitre d' appeared breathless and flushed. "Mr. Walker, I deeply apologize. I'll remove her immediately." Ethan stared at the girl, stunned. "What did you call me?" Lily swallowed. Her voice cracked with desperation. "Daddy, you look like him. The way you sit, the way you look at the table like it's not even there. I'm sorry, I'm just hungry." The maitre d' reached for her arm. "Mr. Walker, please, let me." Ethan's voice cut through the tension like a knife. "Wait." All eyes turned to him. He leaned in. "How long has it been since you ate? 2 days, Lily whispered. "But I can be quiet. I won't ask for much. I just wanted to sit, like real people do. Ethan felt something crack inside him. For years, he'd built walls of marble and glass, guarded by passwords and lawyers. He had lovers but no love, success but no peace, and now a child with nothing had walked right through every defense. He looked at the maitre d'. "Bring another plate," he said calmly, "and some fresh bread." "Sir, that's against," I said. "Bring another plate, and a fresh orange juice." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some gawked, others sneered. One woman muttered, "He must know her." A scandal waiting to happen. A man in a tux scoffed, "This is exactly why we dine in places like this, to avoid this kind of disruption." Ethan stood up. "Then maybe this place isn't worth dining in." Gasps followed. He knelt beside Lily eye level. "You can call me Ethan, okay? Would you like to sit with me?" Lily blinked stunned. For real, for real. She clambered onto the chair, her tiny legs dangling, not quite reaching the ground. The contrast between her and the glittering surroundings was painful. But her smile, tentative, radiant, was like a sunbeam breaking through storm clouds. "Bring warm bread and something easy on the stomach," Ethan told the server. "Soup, or a kid-friendly entree. And hurry." The waiter nodded, still in disbelief. "I'm Lily," she said, staring at the silverware, like it was treasure. "I used to eat with my mom. She made bread too. It tasted like this." Ethan's throat tightened. "And where's your mom now in heaven?" "My dad said someone would take care of me." Then he left. A long pause. "I'm sorry." Lily shrugged like it didn't hurt anymore, but Ethan saw through it. He saw everything in her eyes that he hadn't seen in his own reflection in years. When the bread came, Lily reached out but paused. "Can I?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, of course." She took a bite and closed her eyes like it was a feast. "Is it good?" he asked. "It tastes like safety," she murmured. Later, as she dipped another piece into the butter, she whispered, "You smell like cologne and something warm, like a fireplace." Ethan chuckled, not remembering the last time someone said anything that real to him. And then it happened. An elderly man from across the room walked over. He wore a navy suit and a simple gold ring. He leaned in toward Ethan, whispered, "Tonight you saved more than just a child. Maybe you saved a man who forgot how to be human." Ethan didn't know how to respond, but as he watched Lily now laughing softly at how the butter melted on her fingers, he realized something frighteningly beautiful. His life, his perfectly controlled, predictably lonely life, had just changed forever. And you? What would you do if a stranger's simple question shattered every wall you built around your heart? If this story touched you, please leave a heart on the video. That night, as the car pulled up to the sleek penthouse on the Upper East Side, Ethan Walker glanced at the rearview mirror. There in the back seat sat Lily, clutching a paper bag of leftover bread like it was a priceless treasure. Her eyes darted from the glass skyscrapers to the polished car interior, as if unsure which part of this dream would fade first. "This place is huge," she whispered when they stepped into the elevator that would take them directly into Ethan's apartment. "It's just home," he replied, though even to his ears the word felt strange, empty, impersonal, until now. As the elevator doors slid open, revealing the expansive, marble-floored living room, Lily stepped out cautiously barefoot on polished stone. She tiptoed across the room, staring at the towering shelves, the sleek furniture, the walls of glass looking over the city. Then quietly, "Where are all the people? There's no one else here," Ethan admitted. "Just me. And now you." Lily turned to look at him. "Don't rich people have families?" He froze. Her question sliced deeper than he expected. "Not always." Before he could say more, Margaret, his housekeeper, entered from the kitchen. A kind woman in her late 50s with wise, tired eyes. She stopped short when she saw the girl standing beside her employer. "This is Lily," Ethan said simply. "She'll be staying with us for a while." Margaret's eyes widened, but she said nothing. She had worked for Ethan for years and had never seen him bring anyone, let alone a child, into his home. But something in Lily's appearance, or maybe her eyes, softened the woman instantly. "I'll prepare a warm bath and fresh towels," Margaret said gently. "Do you want to come with me, sweetheart?" Lily looked at Ethan for permission. "It's okay," He nodded. "I'll be right here." She followed Margaret, her tiny frame disappearing down the hall, and Ethan was left standing in the middle of his spotless home, now filled with the quiet echo of something he hadn't felt in a long-time life. When Lily returned, her face was clean, her hair slightly damp, and her eyes brighter. She wore one of Ethan's oversized t-shirts tied up with a ribbon that Margaret had found somewhere. Her small hands clutched the sleeves as she approached him in the living room. "I smell like flowers," she giggled clearly in awe. Ethan smiled. "That's the soap." She climbed onto the couch, curling her legs underneath her like she'd done it 100 times. "I used to have a blanket that smelled like this. Mom washed it with lavender, but it got lost when we had to move out." The words hit like invisible punches. Each sentence was simple, innocent, but behind every word was a weight too heavy for any child to carry. Ethan poured her a glass of milk. He sat beside her a cautious distance away. "Where did you sleep last night, Lily?" he asked gently. "Under the stairs," she replied almost too quickly. "There's a building down the block. The lady at the front desk lets me stay there sometimes. If it's not raining." Ethan turned away, his jaw tightening. Rage twisted inside him, not at Lily, not even at the world, but at himself. For all the times he'd walked past children like her, for how long he had been blind. Later, after Lily fell asleep on the couch, clutching a couch pillow as if it were her old blanket, Ethan stepped into his office. He picked up the phone and called James, his driver and assistant. "James, I need you to do something. Tomorrow morning, go to the mall. Buy clothes girls size age 7, pajamas, shoes, something simple but warm. Get basic toiletries, toothbrush, hairbrush, anything she might need. Bring them here. And James, no price limit, just make sure it's soft, comfortable." "Yes, sir," James said without question. After hanging up, Ethan walked to the doorway where Lily slept. He didn't want to move her, didn't want to risk waking her. Something about watching her sleep curled into herself on his couch shook him more than any business deal ever had. The next morning, Lily opened her eyes to the smell of pancakes. "You cook?" she asked, surprised to see Ethan at the stove. "Not well," he admitted, "but Margaret supervised me, kind of like a cooking bodyguard." She giggled and climbed up onto one of the bar stools at the kitchen island. Ethan slid a plate in front of her. Pancakes, strawberries, whipped cream. "Are you sure this isn't someone else's dream?" she whispered. That question stayed with Ethan all morning. But just as they were finishing breakfast, Ethan's phone buzzed. It was Daniel Ross, his longtime lawyer. "You don't call me before 8 a.m. unless someone's suing me," Ethan said. "Not yet, but you're about to walk into a legal minefield." Ethan walked into his office, closing the door softly behind him. "What do you mean, the child?" "The girl you took home. Her name is Lily, right? I ran a few checks. No missing person report, no social services record. That means she's invisible, which is exactly the problem. You can't keep her, Ethan, not without legal guardianship. And that requires process investigations approvals." "I'm not sending her back to the streets," Ethan said coldly. "I don't care what process says. I know you don't. That's why I'm helping you. But there's one more thing. I think I found her father." Ethan went silent. "His name is Mark Taylor. Last known address was in Palm Springs. He's alive but not in custody. No record of parental effort. If you want to adopt Lily, he'll need to sign away his rights." Ethan's voice dropped. "And if he refuses," Daniel hesitated. "Then it gets messy." That night, Ethan didn't sleep. He sat in the hallway outside Lily's temporary bedroom, watching the soft glow of a nightlight dance against the wall. She was inside, safe, warm for now. But for how long would some man who disappeared when she needed him most suddenly have a say in whether she stayed? Could paperwork or DNA erase the love growing in a place Ethan never thought he'd feel again? He'd spent his whole life building empires, conquering markets, mastering control. But now he realized something devastating. He couldn't protect her with money. He would have to fight with something much harder, his heart. What do you think should love or blood define who gets to be called family? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if this story moved you, drop a heart for Lily. Ethan stood alone in the courthouse hallway, pacing. The faint hum of the fluorescent lights overhead barely registered in his mind. He kept glancing at the closed door across from him, The room where Lily sat with a court-appointed child psychologist answering questions no child should ever have to answer. He had faced brutal boardroom battles, hostile takeovers, and billion-dollar decisions under pressure. But nothing felt as terrifying as waiting on the verdict that would decide whether Lily would legally become his daughter. A week earlier, he'd flown out to Palm Springs to confront Mark Taylor, Lily's biological father. The man who had abandoned her, the man who by blood alone could end everything Ethan had built with Lily. Mark was a thin, hollow-eyed mechanic, hunched over a beer in a dusty garage when Ethan arrived. He barely looked up. "I came about," Lily, Ethan said. Mark snorted. "Didn't know she was still alive." Ethan's jaw clenched. "She is, and she's extraordinary." Mark shrugged. "What do you want, your signature?" Ethan said. "To give up your parental rights." Mark looked at him. "Why should I?" "Because you left her to freeze under stairwells," Ethan snapped. "Because she's terrified of being forgotten again." "Because I love her." Mark leaned back, his face unreadable. "She call you Dad?" "No," Ethan replied. "She calls me Ethan. But I hope someday she might." There was a long silence. Then unexpectedly, Mark reached into a drawer and pulled out an old creased photo. It was Lily at around 3 years old, smiling, hair in crooked pigtails. "She used to wait at the door every night," he murmured. "Then one night I just didn't come back." He stared at the picture, then slowly, silently signed the papers. Back in New York, the legal process moved fast. Ethan submitted everything to the court, but now they were at the final hearing, and it was Lily who would be questioned. The door finally opened. Lily stepped out holding a small stuffed lion Ethan had given her the night before. Her face was unreadable, but when her eyes met his, she ran into his arms and whispered, "I told them you make the best pancakes." Ethan let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. The judge called them in. The room was small, plain. Ethan took his seat and Lily climbed up beside him, swinging her feet nervously. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, glanced at the files before her. "Mr. Walker, I've reviewed your request as well as Ms. Lily's statements. I only have one final question." Ethan straightened. "Yes, Your Honor. Why do you want to adopt this child?" Ethan looked down at Lily, then back at the judge. His voice when he spoke was steady but thick with emotion. "Because I didn't know I needed her until the moment she sat across from me, asking for a piece of bread," he said. "Because she brought light into a home that had been dark for too long. Because she taught me how to be human again. And because love shouldn't be a privilege based on blood, it should be a choice. And I choose her." The room was silent. Then the judge smiled. "Request granted. Lily Walker, welcome to your forever home." Lily turned to Ethan. "Does this mean I can call you Dad now?" Tears spilled from his eyes. He nodded. "Only if you want to." She reached out her pinky. "Pinky promise." He hooked his with hers. Forever. Later that evening, the apartment was filled with people Ethan never thought he'd let in again. Margaret, James, Daniel, even his estranged brother Caleb, who had quietly returned after hearing about Lily. They gathered around a small birthday cake, Lily's first real one in years. 8 candles flickered as she closed her eyes and made a wish. When she opened them, she whispered, "It already came true." That night, after everyone had gone, Lily and Ethan sat side by side on the rooftop. The city sparkled below them. "Dad, yeah. If one day I'm not perfect, if I mess up or get lost or forget to say thank you, will you still love me?" Ethan wrapped his arm around her. "Sweetheart, love isn't something you earn. It's something that never leaves, and I will never stop loving you." Lily leaned her head against his side, her eyes fluttering closed. And for the first time in years, Ethan Walker felt whole. Not because of money, not because of status, but because a little girl reminded him what family really meant. What would you have done if you were Ethan standing in front of Lily's birth father? Would you have fought the same way? Have you ever experienced a moment where a stranger became family? How did this story make you feel? If it moved you, thank you for staying with us through every moment. If you enjoyed this journey, comment with number 3 below. If it was just okay, press 2. And if it didn't quite reach you, comment 1. We want to hear your thoughts. Also, let us know where you're watching from. We love hearing from all around the world. Don't forget to like, share, and send a heart if this story touched you. See you in the next emotional story.